Dear students, welcome to our class on Micrometeorology of Crops, Water 1. Micrometeorology of Crops, Water 1. The weather elements are solar radiation, temperature, wind, humidity, pressure, rainfall, derived parameters like evaporation, transpiration, so etc. etc. Here, as far as micrometeorology is concerned, I have covered first five short videos on solar radiation, then five short videos on temperature, both air and soil. Third, five videos on wind I have covered. Here, I cannot mention rainfall in place of water. For micrometeorological purposes, we, the agrometeorologists, deal from the viewpoint of water. So, like that, a combination of these weather elements, solar radiation, temperature combination, and in due course of time, in the days to come, I am going to cover combination, but basically micrometeorological studies, five short videos on the first three weather elements. The next weather element, what I would like to impress upon you is that it's not rainfall. I am going to cover with reference to rainfall in terms of water. Now, see, water precipitation is the process in which water vapor which is present in the atmosphere anywhere between 0.03 to 4% in the tropical areas, it reaches the ground, in the form of which cannot be retained in the atmosphere. It reaches the ground. So one of the forms of precipitation is rain. Usually the classification is liquid forms, the solid forms, the mixed forms. Liquid forms, rain more than 0.5 millimeters of size drop of water, less than 0.5, drizzle, and the shower, like that, less than 0.5, and the shower which does not reach the ground. Mixed forms, solid forms. Solid forms are snow. Next one is the hail. What are the mixed forms? Sleet, glaze, mixed form, both solid and mixed. Why I am trying to impress upon you is that these forms, they fall on the ground because they cannot be retained in the atmosphere. So water is the ultimate product. From these things we get it. So different types of rains are there. The first one is the convection rains. During a hot summer day, we get the convection rains in a very smaller area. The second one is the orographic rain, when moisture laden air hits the mountains. We call it as the orographic. On the leeward side, we get the orographic rain. The third one is the cyclonic rains. So I have elaborately discussed with you. And in the Asia, monsoonal rains, southwest monsoon and northeast monsoon. So this is the these are the ways in which the water comes. Now, fundamentally, as far as our agricultural meteorology is concerned, we, the agrometeorologists, standard-wise, we follow three types of plants. We encounter, agrometeorologists encounter three types of plants, particularly micrometeorological-wise. Number one is the hydrophytes. Of course, as you know, they just survive in the water. The second one is the Mesophytes. There are two types of Mesophytes, true Mesophytes and xerophytic Mesophytes. What are the hydrophytes? For example, as far as crops is concerned, agriculture meteorology, not meteorology. So rice is the crop which comes under the hydrophytes. So what is Mesophytes? True Mesophytes. True Mesophytes are those plants up to 25% of the depletion of the water in the plant, they can survive. They can do the physiological process. In other words, just in technical terms, true Mesophytes are those that wilt, please write, true Mesophytes are those that wilt, W-I-L-T, wilt, permanently after losing 25% of their water. 25% of their water, if they lose, they become they wilt. What are the xerophytic mesophytes? Between 25 to 50% of the water, okay, by losing the water, xerophytic, okay, mesophytes. Most of our agricultural crops grown in tropical temperate areas are, okay, mesophytes. True mesophytes, 25%, up to 25% of the water, okay, depletion. 25 to 30%, 25 to 50% are the xerophytic. So finally, you know what are the xerophytes. Xerophytes are the plants which would survive under the extreme drought conditions, and of course between 75 to up to 75, between 50 and 75% of the water lost, okay, they show the clear cut symptoms of drought. So this is how we, the agrometeorologists, okay, classify our crops with reference to micrometeorological studies. Now, so let us see what are the physiological plant responses to water. Physiological, how plant responds physiologically to water. Number one, you please just try to write, okay, water is the major constituent of the tissue of the leaves. Water is the major constituent of the tissues. Second one is it is a reagent in the photosynthesis. The third one is it is a solvent in which the salts, the sugar, okay, these are all, okay, dissolved, and photosynthesis translocation takes place, and essential for plant turbidity. Plant turgidity, for which, you know, it is necessary for enlargement and growth. This is a small leaf. You are seeing this as a small leaf here. This is a small, this is a big. So a leaf enlargement, okay, turgidity plays an important role. So needed for the transpiration. Water is needed for the transpiration with reference to micrometeorology. In addition to several, okay, physiological plant responses to water are there. Transpiration, photosynthesis, water, these are all the things, okay, how water play an important role. Now, the very interesting thing which I am going to discuss is the effect of water on the photosynthesis. Once again, I would like to impress upon my beloved students that any micrometeorological study, okay, or any micrometeorological class or course, it starts with the climate near the ground, then solar radiation, temperature, wind, we have covered like this. Now, it goes to water, and finally photosynthesis. So we go to finally photosynthesis. So we, the agrometeorologists, are the scientists in collaboration with crop physiology and soil science. We just to quantify the photosynthesis. That is the end, that is our target. Agrometeorology, one of the targets, not the objectives, not the duties. So finally, our science, our agricultural meteorology should end with the photosynthesis. So that I am going to cover in short videos in an elaborated way. But here, basically with reference to water, when we discuss effect of water on photosynthesis, some points we should know. Otherwise, the importance of water, okay, is not treated properly. That's why I just try to enlighten you that water deficiencies not only reduces yield. Water deficiencies not only reduces yields, but also change the pattern of growth. Change the pattern of growth of the crop plants, particularly mesophytes. True mesophytes, xerophytic mesophytes. Now, the second one, that doesn't mean that, you know, paddy is not, I am not covering hydrophytes as well. Now, in general, effective rooting depth decreases as the soil moisture level increases. Here, very, very interesting point. So, this is the soil, this is soil. Okay. Now, if you presume a plant like this, it is an inflorescence. Now, there is a root system here. Root system here. Roots, aerial part, this is the soil. So now here, most important point is, this will come in the SRF bit, this bit will come. When, okay, soil mechanically supports the plant. Soil mechanically supports, though there is a soil environment and there is an aerial environment. Here, when you give more and more of irrigation, the roots are shallow. The roots are shallow and they develop laterally. They develop laterally like this. When you give lot of irrigation, the roots develop laterally. Shallow depth. When exact opposite situation, when there is some sort of moisture stress. So the roots go further deep into the soil. The roots go further deep into the soil. This is the basis. This question will come in the SRF. When irrigation is given, the root depth, okay, increases or decreases? Decreases. That is the answer. Another answer is they laterally spread. When there is a moisture stress in the soil, what will happen? It goes deep. So a combination of anything would come in the form of bits. That's why I am interested to enlighten you. So once again, I would like to read. In general, effective rooting depth. Effective rooting depth. In general, effective rooting depth. Effective rooting depth. Okay. It decreases as the moisture level increases. This is one. Roots developed under, that's what I explained to you again in the form of scientific line I am going to tell. Roots developed under limited moisture conditions are finer. Limited moisture conditions are finer. So these are all the finer roots, finer, and have more and longer branches developed under, okay, favorable soil moisture conditions. So the roots under the moisture stress conditions in the soil, they are finer and then go deeper and they develop lateral roots. So very interesting. My own PG students research finding I would like to share with you here that when groundnut was sown, okay, peanuts, that's what we call it, Araceous hypothia was sown in the field. First 5 to 7 days there was enough moisture. Almost up to 10th day there was no problem, just germination, okay, emergence took place. Up to, okay, 38th day there was no water, there was no rain. However, once the rains started from 39th, 42nd and 47th day, good amount of rains were received. The crop, the roots have extensively developed, which were developed during the 10th day and 38th day, which were developed during 10th day and 30th day, deeper, they have utilized the moisture and the yields were substantially, significantly higher, even though there was a drought for approximately 29 days during the vegetative phase. This is the reason. So under the drought conditions, the roots go, effective root depth increases, okay, thereby it tries to extract the moisture. So this is one of the findings of my own PG students research, for whom I was the chairman. Now, so another bit will come, the root and shoot ratio. Please write, the root and shoot ratio, okay, usually increases under stressed conditions. Of course, leaf area is decreased under the stress condition. Leaf area is decreased, but leaf thickness is increased. What we are studying, the effect of water on the photosynthesis. This is another important thing. The quality of economic yield, that is the flower production, seed production, and of course thereby the grain yield are significantly influenced by moisture stress or water stress as far as crop plants are concerned. Here I would like to share with you few more points. Less than 1% of the water, okay, is only utilized in the photosynthesis. Again, water deficits in the plant have a profound effect on the rate of photosynthesis. Water deficits have a prolonged effect on the photosynthesis. Similarly, plant water stress directly reduces photosynthetic process, because in the PG or Ph.D. thesis, this is useful to you. I request you to write. Please write these points. Plant water stress directly reduces plant water stress directly reduces the photosynthetic process. Because as a PG student, as a PhD student, when you in the introduction review of literature, okay, material and methods you are writing. Now, in the review of literature, you should give the reason. You should support it during the results and discussion and summary, even in the abstract. So, I am telling you, the plant water stress directly reduces the photosynthetic process because dehydrated protoplasm has a lowered photosynthetic capacity. Dehydrated protoplasm has lowered photosynthetic activity. This line you should mention, otherwise, the thesis will have lower quality. That I am not interested to underline. Now, here another important point. Once the leaf loses its turgidity, the stomata gourd cells close. More of stomata are on the lower side as compared to upper side. Stomata gourd cells are closed. Once the stomata gourd cells are closed, what will happen? CO2 won't enter into the leaves. Okay, under the deficit water conditions, what will happen? The stomata are closed, CO2 won't enter, thereby photosynthesis is reduced. So in general, please note, this is a very interesting point. During the water deficit condition, the respiration increases. That's all. So there is no ambiguity in this statement. This may come in the form of a bit in combination with one or two statements. So that's why under the stressed condition, the respiration increases. This is another thing. In general, the rate of photosynthesis declines. Noticeably after a reduction of 30% of the water. If in the plant, okay, 30% of the water is declined. So the photosynthesis starts to decline there. Now, the photosynthesis did not drop. In general, we can say in a general statement, photosynthesis won't fall until 40% of the soil moisture depletion. Okay. However, very interesting point I will tell. Please write. Photosynthesis slightly reduces. At high soil moisture content. More than required soil moisture content. Okay. Photosynthesis is also reduced under more than required soil moisture condition. What is the application of this I will tell. Then I explain to you a small diagram. So what is the application? Please write. This is a very interesting for our class, first class of water, micrometeorology of water. Now please write. Irrigation should be applied with reference to photosynthesis. Irrigation should be applied just prior to sharp decline in photosynthesis. Once again I will read application. For today's class, the application is irrigation should be applied just prior to sharp decline in photosynthesis. Here, if you see days, percentage of soil moisture 20, 40, 60. This is percentage of photosynthesis 25, 50, 75, 100. Now, see, when percentage of soil moisture is up to 40% of soil moisture, up to 40%, there is no decline in the photosynthesis. This is photosynthesis. Okay, this is 40%. That means up to 40% of the depletion of soil moisture, there is no decrease. Once it increases, okay, from 40% to 60%, the photosynthesis is sharply decreased. So this is what I would like to share with you. Thanking you very much for your patient hearing, and we go on discussing, okay, water, okay, in place of rainfall in the days to come, and thanking you for your very patient